But I think there's a story that deserves a lot more attention than it is receiving so far, and there's actually a sports connection to it as well. I don't know if a lot of you have paid attention to the story surrounding Gina Carano. So Gina Carano has a 7-1 MMA fighting record. She was one of the first women to really create a lot of MMA attention. And she then went on, as many different, frankly, MMA fighters or wrestlers have throughout time, and became an actress. And she is now, in the first 2 seasons, been on a show that I'm sure a lot of you have watched, or a lot of your kids have watched. I'm sure you're familiar with it. My kids have watched it. I have not. But The Mandalorian, which is a Star Wars-related film, television series, I should say, which is available on Disney+. They've had 2 seasons. It is wildly popular. And she just got fired. And she just got fired for essentially this post that she put on Instagram. And I think it's interesting because we've seen a lot of cancel culture. And if you listen to this show, you know that I am probably, of anybody in sports media, the most opposed to cancel culture. And what I mean by that is I think that we need to be a more forgiving society. And so even if you are, let's say, an athlete that has made bad decisions off the field, I think you can redeem yourself. For instance, Antonio Brown was a total mess in terms of what happened with the Raiders, in terms of what happened with the Steelers, short tenure with the New England Patriots, and then he gets suspended for alleged sexual assault. That's a pretty serious allegation against him. We don't know exactly what happened. It's a he said, she said story. He comes back, catches a touchdown in the Super Bowl, and now probably with a Super Bowl championship is going to end up in the Hall of Fame. He has been a really talented wide receiver. Far from a perfect individual, but if there is a team that is willing to give him a chance, I think that the team should be able to give him a chance, even with those serious allegations against him. I don't believe, essentially, in cancel culture. I believe that people make mistakes, and I think they deserve an opportunity to redeem themselves. I certainly don't believe in cancel culture for opinions, which some people might disagree with or agree with. But I think we have to have a consistent standard that we apply. So here is what Gina Carano said on her Instagram that got her fired by Disney. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them simply for being Jews. How is that any different from hating someone for their political views? Well, it is different, right? This is an analogy that is inartfully expressed by Gina Carano. But is it an opinion that is so unacceptable that you shouldn't be able to be an actress? I think that's crazy, because there are all sorts of liberal actors and actresses who have spent years calling the president of the United States Hitler, saying that he has Nazi sympathies, all sorts of crazy without any evidence to support it, allegations about Trump, and none of those people have lost their jobs, including Gina Carano's own co-star on The Mandalorian, who compared United States treatment of would-be refugees trying to enter the country with Jewish concentration camps during the Holocaust. That co-star gets to keep his job. Gina Carano, former MMA star, loses her job. And so what I am fascinated by is the culture that we have created, which has now bled into sports, where a guy like Curt Schilling can't make the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame because of his political beliefs. that are conservative. But if he were a left winger, he would have been able to make the Hall of Fame. And the question that I would ask out there for all of you is this, and I think it's an important and instructive question to think about on President's Day in particular, because we celebrate the sort of lions of our democracy on President's Day. We celebrate ideas. And sometimes ideas are controversial. Sometimes ideas are controversial in their own time that in later years become commonplace. And so my question out there for everyone is, what are we doing when we are creating different rules based on speech and opinion? And I think this is translating from Hollywood into sports in a big way. What are we doing when we are punishing guys like Curt Schilling for conservative political opinions, and we are rewarding people like Megan Rapinoe, who's a Sportsman of the Year, for extremely left-wing opinions? And why are we saying that any companies agree or disagree with their employees? This is one of the great flaws, I think, of the social media era. We have created a universe where you don't just have an opinion yourself. Your employer also has to have an opinion on your opinion. Why? Why in your private life should you not be able to say exactly what you think without fear of losing your job? Whatever you do, whether you're a former MMA fighter like Gina Carano, a former Major League Baseball player like Curt Schilling, or frankly, Megan Rapinoe or LeBron James, why shouldn't the standard be the same for everyone regardless of their opinion? Which is, that's their opinion. I don't know why they can't have it. I'm not responsible for the opinions that other people on this show have. Why would I be? I'm responsible for my own opinions. You're not responsible for the opinions that your coworkers have. Neither is your boss. We've got to reject this idea of policing what can and can't be said by corporations, and we need to be careful about it if we don't, because cancel culture is on steroids now, and it's absolutely broken. And with cancel culture on steroids, let me just ask you this question to think about here on President's Day. How weak are your own personal opinions if you are so troubled by other people sharing their own personal opinions that you're demanding they no longer be able to have a job? I think we're getting it wrong, and I think we're getting it wrong in a big way because of exactly what's happening with social media.